guys, it's Ray here from City Fan TV, and as you can see, we've got finance expert and guru, FFP. Can I call you a know-it-all? Colin Savage. How are you doing, Colin?
I'm fine. I love your descriptions of me, Ray.
Well, you do. Look, I always say I'm a qualified accountant, and I always go to Colin when I want to ask somebody with a more expert opinion on finances and FFP than me. And Colin is the man. I was going to say something that you might have objected to there. He's almost a Kieran Maguire. But Kieran's full time doing that sort of thing. But Colin's up there. What we're going to do today, we're going to start off by talking about some criticism we've seen on social media about Txiki Begiristain. Now, it would appear that a lot of apparently the City fans are criticising Txiki for a couple of deals that seem to be likely to go through. One is the Angelino deal, where we're loaning him out for 2 million to RB Leipzig, with the option for them to buy him, or an obligation to buy him for 18 million euros next summer if he plays 12 games for them this season. And people are unhappy because they think he's worth a lot more. He was in the Champions League team of the squad of the season last year, and people say he's worth at least 30 or 40, and if we were buying him, that's what it'd cost us. Also, people are unhappy about Garcia possibly going for 15 or 20 million quid to Barcelona, when he's worth, I think most people would agree, a fair bit more, but he's in the last year of his contract. So I want to get your feel for, do you think the criticism of Txiki Begiristain is justified? Are we just a poor selling club?
Well, I think there's two sides to this. One is people can perhaps criticise the footballing side, and people say that these are going too cheap. But we're talking about finances. And as a club, we pay money out on players, we bring money in. We get people off the wage bill, we get new players on the wage bill. And I think we're going to be talking about Jurgen Klopp's comments, but we're saying that City work to a budget. People think that we have unlimited funds, a bottomless pit. We work to a budget. We also restricted by squad size. So if we've got 17 foreign players and we want to bring another one in, one's got to go out. So that's a fairly simple equation. The financial side it's about, if you think about, you've got a warehouse full of settees or furniture. You've got new stock coming in. You want to shift the old stock. What do? You have a sale. Or Marks and Spencer in their season range of clothing in. They shift the old stuff. They have a sale, and it's about bringing in cash, the movement of cash, because these clothes may be worth these clothes or these settees or whatever commodity you're dealing with. They may be, in theory, worth more than you're selling them for, but it's about doing a deal and getting some cash in and shifting them. So, if you've got a settee that you think is worth 1,000 quid, fine, it might be worth 1,000 quid, but it might be an old model. You may not get 1,000 quid for it now or anywhere in the near future, but you may be able to get 500 quid for it very quickly. So, and that's 500 quid cash in your pocket, in your account, that you wouldn't get if you held out for a higher price.
Yeah.
So it's about movement of cash. It's about movement of goods, and players in this situation are goods.
Yeah. I mean, one of the criticisms, and people don't look at the fact that Garcia, for instance, has got 1 year left on his contract. And if we haggle too much and Barcelona just say, look, let's say we want 25 million and Barcelona only want to pay 20, they might just say, well, let's just wait 1 year. We'll get him for next year. And we get nothing for him, for a guy who's in his last year, who if we're sensible, we wouldn't play, because what's the point of carrying on developing somebody who's going to leave anyway, unless we think we can change his mind. We're going to pay his wages. We're going to have his amortization, however small, hit the accounts, and we're going to get no money for him. To me, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah. Well, you think of it in terms of a car that depreciates. Basically, a player's contract depreciates in the same way as any other fixed asset. And there's a number of other things which, again, we think we're going to talk about in another video. But to sell a young player that cost us virtually nothing, even for 18, 20 million pounds, you record a good profit, and that profit is important in funding other transfers.
Yeah, I mean, and finally, one of my final points on this is people seem to forget all the good deals that Txiki Begiristain has done. They want to pick on, people picked on Mangala or Boney, and I say, well, actually, they were bad purchases. They were not bad sales. We couldn't sell them for much more than we did because they weren't worth much more than we sold them for. People forget about people like Angus Gunn, who we got up to 15 million quid for, who had, did he play one game for us? That was it. He was on loan. Eni Sunal, who probably never even came to Manchester. We made, I think, 10 million euros profit on him. Bertrand Selina, we sold him for 4 million. Sancho, people criticise, he was in the last year of his contract. And we got 10 million quid, which isn't bad. Brahim Diaz, we got 15 million quid for Brahim Diaz, and he had 6 months left on his contract. Iheanacho, 25 million quid. Aaron Moy, you talked to me about him before. We paid, I think, 4 million quid or 4 million Australian dollars to buy Melbourne City FC. Got Aaron Moy over here, sent him off on loan to Huddersfield and sold him for 10 million quid, which is a lot more than we paid for the club, I think. And Angelino, he cost us virtually nothing. He's been on loan for 3 seasons. We sold him for 5 or 6 million euros last summer, bought him back for the same price, and now we're going to sell him, hopefully, for a total package of 20 million euros. You can argue that's lower than it should be, but as you said, cash flow is important, timing's important, moving the right players off the books at the right time. And maybe we just don't want to get into that brinkmanship and call my bluff and trying to get every last penny.
Yeah. The Daniel Levy school of...
Yeah, we just want De Laurentiis with Koulibaly. We just want to get in, get the deal done, forget about it. We've got bigger fish to fry. Colin, I just want to ask you, what do you think of the academy? People are criticising the academy as not bringing through much talent because the only person who's really two players who've come through and started to make it is Garcia and Foden. Should it just be a production line of top talent that's going to be in the first team, or is it a little bit deeper than that?
Well, no, I mean, you have to look at the academy as more of a profit centre, a revenue generator, than an incubator of first-team talent. It's very difficult. When you club at our level, we've said this before, it's very difficult to break through into the first team. You've got to be something special because you've got to, if you're playing in midfield, you've got to displace a player like Kevin De Bruyne, Bernardo, Fernandinho, and that is so difficult to do for a 17, 18-year-old. So people are going to have to get used to the idea that only the most exceptional talents, I mean, we thought Garcia was one of those talents. Phil Foden appears to be one of those talents, but he's still got a long way to go. And seeing recent events, has he got the right level of maturity and right attitude? Where question marks being raised against that, or is he already showing the kind of big bollocks attitude that of a first teamer? So, but the academy, if you sell 5 players for 10 million each, like we are doing, that's 50 million quid. Yeah. And that 50 million quid can generate a whole lot more transfers for the first team.
Fantastic, Colin. Hopefully that's given people an insight. It's not just straightforward that we're not selling players for the right value that some people, armchair pundits, think. There's a little bit more behind that, and it's all to do with finances. So thanks very much for your contribution today.
Thank you. Oh, it's a pleasure.